Hey, I've got a question for you. Do you know what your limits are? Hi friends, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Kristi and I'm so glad to be with you in this video. Here's my question for you this week. Do you know what your limits are? And what I mean by that is where your threshold is. I'll tell you this, I know where my limits are on what I will tolerate, right? So I'll take on and I'll take on and I'll take on to this point, and then I cross that line. That's my limit. And that's where things change. I think that's where a lot of us know where our limits are, but there's actually a subconscious limit that has you stuck. So what does that look like? So we tend to put on these self-limiting beliefs, and we didn't even know it existed. It starts in our mind, and it's how we speak to ourselves. It's not only how we speak to ourselves, but it's what we say when we talk to ourselves. Are you constantly criticizing? Are you saying, there, see, you did it again? That kind of talk will keep you really, really stuck. So we put on these limits also based on what we think we know, and we don't know what we don't know. So I share this with you because I think I know what so-and-so wants, and then I won't even ask or pursue it because, they don't want that. Do you see how I just missed an entire opportunity of something really amazing because I didn't ask, because I believed I knew what that person wants? So I want you to find out what your limits are, but two sides of the word limit, okay? The first one is, what is your self-imposing limits that are keeping you stuck? When I really started diving in, and you guys, I don't journal, maybe I should. Maybe I should. But when I took out my journal, here it is right here. Here's my journal. And I really just started writing. And not my deep thoughts, right? But I started writing what is in my way. What's happening that I don't even see? What could be stifling my growth? What stood in the way of me making that ask? Those kinds of questions, when I really started getting into that and started writing it down, I don't know what it is. There's something so significant about pen to paper that does something in our minds. So I started writing those down, and I encourage you to do the same thing. I know that might sound a little bit cheesy, but it was game changing for me. I started realizing all of these self-limiting beliefs that I put on myself, like way back when. All right, you guys, middle school was the worst time in my life. If I ever had to time travel and go back to any point in time of my life, I would say please not 7th and 8th grade. It was terrible. I had a unibrow and braces and really bad hair. I will never forget the lady that walked her kid to the same bus stop that we walked to, and she used to always make fun of me and say, I've never seen anybody like you before. You're bow-legged and pigeon-toed. I didn't even know what that meant. I went home, I'm like, Mom, what is bow-legged and pigeon-toed? And bow-legged is where your knees go out like this, and pigeon-toed is where your toes go like this. And she told me that that's how I walk. In the most traumatic time of one youngster's life. I'm no longer a kid, and I'm not quite a teenager, and I've got acne, and all of a sudden, boys are paying attention to the girls, and it's awkward, and there's these cliques, and there's cool kids, and oh my gosh, all of these things. And then in my 20s and my 30s, I'm realizing I still see myself as that bow-legged, pigeon-toed, braces wearing, unibrow having, awkward, uncomfortable, low self-esteem 8th grader. Can you imagine? Or is that you too? Seeing yourself at the worst or most awkward time in your life, do you still see yourself that way? If you do, I want you to look in the mirror, because that's not who you are. I look in the mirror and I say, that's not who I am. I ran and worked hard to be very, very far away from that awkward young girl. And I work hard every day to make sure that she doesn't show up in my subconscious and sit there and put limitations on what is possible in my life. Another thing that I want to encourage you to do is find what you think is your limit. Okay? Is it a certain job title you think, oh, if I can get to there, right? Is it a certain income? Is it a certain level of education? Is it being in a certain kind of a relationship? What is it that's your aim? And just know that if it's your aim and your goal, it might also be your limit. So I ask you, is it high enough, right? Is what you're aiming for your aim because it's attainable and possible? If it is, it's actually keeping you at a lower level than what you have possible in yourself, in your lifetime, what you can contribute. So I say this to you because I want you to have the highest limit possible. And where you think that's your limit on where you can go in whatever your aim is, I want you to crush through it. I want you to break through that barrier and destroy that and say, all right, I have to set a new limit because I already crushed that. So where's the next limit and where's the next limit? But guys, don't let it limit you. Let it be a standard in which you are aiming at and then bust through it. I know you've got that inside of you, but first we have to get rid of those self-imposing limits, those beliefs that are deeply ingrained and that has us seeing ourselves as that awkward 8th grader. I hope this brings you value. I hope you see yourself in a different light the next time you look in that mirror, because you have so much value and you've come really far, baby. But let's keep going. Let's push past the next limits and the next limits, and let's shake off those self-imposed nasty beliefs, that mean talk to ourselves. Let's start talking as the encourager to ourselves so we can also be encouragers to other people. Until next time, my friends, stay well.